Okay, everybody, let's take it from the top.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Hi-ho, everybody, and welcome back to D+. That's a show about all things Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, whatever Disney owns, pretty much. I'm one of your hosts, Griffin, today. Griffin D. Papping with me, as always, is the wonderful, the amazing Mr. Mitch George. How are you doing today?
Griffin, they own everything. Everything.
Welcome back to the Anti-Capitalist Disney podcast, which is an oxymoron, I know, but it somehow happens. But weirdly enough, we're talking about one of Disney's acquisitions today. We are talking about Star Wars. We are talking about Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Star Wars fans, I hope you're ready to stop listening to our show, because we are about to piss off a lot of you crybabies.
I'm sorry in advance.
We are not doing it alone, though. Ryan, welcome back to the podcast. Are you ready to upset the Star Wars fans?
Oh, always. That's usually a goal of mine when I get up in the morning.
I feel like we run the gambit like every time we talk about Star Wars. Like
Star Wars is a dangerous topic.
It's 50-50. Like that one, like I know we upset Marvel fans when we talked about She-Hulk because we love
Because we
She-Hulk.
enjoyed it.
She-Hulk was great. It was the fun comedic player the Marvel Universe needed.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna
Agreed.
start it off with a banger though. We are talking about the best Star Wars movie. We are talking about Star Wars: The Last Jedi. That's right, I said it. This is the best Star Wars movie.
I don't know if I can host this podcast with you anymore.
Yeah, I was
I do.
That's a good
I'm
one.
coming in hot. I'm coming in hot on this one.
Good.
it's real
Best?
good.
The best.
Okay. This is going to be an interesting conversation for sure.
Look, I love the original trilogy. I love the prequel trilogy with a very weird love of it. But as far as the movies go, this is the best one to me. And I will get into that all in a minute, but first the rigmarole. Hey folks, how you doing? Thank you for listening to the show.
No one's here anymore. You already scared them all off. I don't know why you're doing
Look,
the
I
rigmarole.
kept the good people, okay? I kept the people that agree with me. That can be
All right,
taken
keep
out
going,
of
keep going.
context. Please do not take that out of context.
Keep going.
Now, what's up? How you doing? Hey, do you like our show? Are you listening to it in podcast form? Guess what? We have a video form now. We are on YouTube. Please go watch it. Link in the description. It's very fun. You can't see what we're doing, but it's all in visual format, and you should really come over and watch it. Give us a
We have
subscribe.
props.
We don't have any props today. I can grab my lightsaber. It's on the shelf.
I
Yeah,
was,
look, I
I was
have a
going to say,
lightsaber
mine's
somewhere in
on,
this
mine's on the
room.
shelf right here.
Oh, this is the perfect. We have the perfect subsect of
But I have that and a Pokeball on the shelf behind me in case of emergency. Neither are behind glass, so it's
No, you
not
pulled
that
the
big of an emergency, but
You pulled the
They're both
Pokeball
there.
out last episode.
yeah, which doesn't make sense because it's not like we post a Pokemon podcast, but it happened.
We talked
and
about
I'm
Pokemon a
here for
concerning
it.
amount for a Disney podcast.
Look, it's for me, there are two things in this world. There is Disney and there is Pokemon. So you're going to get one or the other or both when it comes to conversations with me. I'm sorry.
Fair enough. The other thing we need to know is we have a TikTok. Go check it out for clips that make us look stupid, as I like to say.
No.
Okay, fine.
It's a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun with those on both TikTok
I'm
and
the
YouTube.
one that makes them. So
You have a lot of fun. I have a lot of fun commenting on them. It's
fine.
great.
I will change it. Clips that make Mitch look stupid.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry. More about me is coming soon. But no, seriously, folks, go check those out. It would mean the World Tour video is our big push this year. And honestly, probably just going ahead in the future. Video is super fun to make.
Definitely.
With all that out of the way, let's hit y'all with the facts for Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Released on December 15th, 2017. Did y'all see
God,
this
that-
day one?
Yeah, no, I saw this opening night. Yeah.
Did I ever tell you my story about how I saw The Force Awakens
don't think
opening
you
night
have.
or opening day?
No, I don't think you have.
Okay, so let's get into that quickly. So at the time, I was working at a relatively large organization here in Toronto, and one of the VPs is probably the biggest Star Wars fan I've ever met. And so much so that he rented out an entire movie theater for the day of this release so that our entire team could go and see this movie instead of working on that Friday.
Oh, hell yeah.
We were on the news because the news was interviewing people. Like, oh, why are you here to see Star Wars? So they're like, it's our job to be here. Like, what are you talking about? Oh, it's a good time. Good time. So I actually saw it twice.
Slightly advanced screenings where it's like still the same day. It's just like someone did something special for it. Or the
Well, like I saw it on the Thursday, so I saw that movie twice in less than 24 hours, which was weird.
Yeah, I
don't think I've ever done that for a movie at release before.
I had something similar happen for The Rise of Skywalker. No, not right. That's the last one, right?
Yeah. Well, hopefully not, because I don't want it to go out on that sour of a note. We'll talk about that on
saga.
Yeah, the Rise of Skywalker sounds right.
Which tell you what, there was a movie that I went in so excited and came out so disappointed. But
yeah, that's another one we should have an episode
we're all in agreement here. That one is bad.
Yes, that is not a good film.
I'll tell you what, it is one of the hypest movies to watch, but it is not a good movie.
Yeah, but it doesn't hold
this movie has more hype moments than Rise of Skywalker.
This is a movie that keeps getting better and better the longer you watch it.
While we're here talking about seeing Star Wars opening day, I have two stories about that I want to share real quick here.
Bring it.
First one is when Force Awakens came out, right? Was that the first one?
Yeah.
That was the first one of the sequel trilogy, yeah.
I did the thing where it was you watch all of them in order leading up to that one in the theater, and they just gave us hot dogs for like a day and a half. I got there at 2 a.m. and just hung out in a movie theater for a day and a half.
How rank was that theater by the end of episode 7?
Ooh.
It can't have smelled good in there.
I was going to say, these are Star Wars nerds, too.
And all you're eating is hot dogs for 24 hours.
It wasn't too bad. A lot of people just slept through like the bad movies, which I found real funny.
But wouldn't those have been like the first movies?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
and then it was like midday.
It's like, all right, time for my 2 o'clock nap through Phantom Menace.
Yeah. You gotta get
nerds are the weirdest, man. I count myself as one of them.
Oh, and then I have the one which is a lot more fun, wholesome one, which was seeing episode 3. Because my dad took me out of school the Friday it came out to go see it, and I remember that.
That's proper parenting right there.
Oh yeah. Shout out to episode 3. Fantastic movie as well.
Yeah, I remember
shout out to Ryan's dad.
I was still in high school.
I hate you.
Yeah, I love making you feel old.
When what came out?
The Force Awakens.
So was I.
I just said I was working a full-time job, Griffin. I hate you.
I know. But it was finals week. So like my entire friend group and I.
Oh my god, it was winter finals.
Had our finals. Ended that last exam, said screw this shit, all piled into a car, drove to the nearest movie theater and went and saw it. Did we accidentally forget to buy 2 tickets?
Yes.
Yes. Did we still all go in?
Yes.
Also yes. They did not care. They did not care at all.
See, up here, our winter finals are always at the end of January. So I always had a weird time in high school where winter finals were always the week of my birthday. So like my school week for finals week was literally go in for 9 o'clock, write my exam, and book it. So like I never hung out with friends and stuff on my birthday because everyone's like, no, we're done with school. We're gonna go do whatever the hell we want, not at school. Fair. But that has nothing to do with this movie. So we should probably talk about this movie.
Yeah, let's keep y'all with the facts. Directed by Rian Johnson. You may know him from Knives Out. I think he's doing a show on Peacock right now.
Yeah, it's really good. I'd recommend it.
I would watch it, but I don't have Peacock.
I would watch it, but Peacock isn't available in Canada.
Yeah, sucks to suck.
That's what VPNs are for. Relax.
Starring, of course, Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, Adam Driver, Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, Oscar Isaac, Andy Serkis. Yes, Andy Serkis. Benicio del Toro, Kelly Marie Tran, who is fantastic and amazing in this movie, and I feel like I need to say it every time we talk about The Last Jedi.
Because we can also talk about that with John Boyega and everything that isn't Rise of Skywalker.
Mm-hmm.
I also am.
Fantastic cast. Unsurprisingly, music, of course, by John Williams. As far as the budget was concerned, we don't know exactly, but it's somewhere in the range of $200 to $317 million. And the box office hit $1.3 billion. Hey, guess what? This is Star Wars. Of course the movie's a success. It's Star Wars. But yeah, let's just start it right off the bat. What I want to know from both of you is, how did you feel originally watching this movie way back when? No, hard to think back. And then how do you feel about the movie after rewatching it now? It's a tough one. So, Mitch, I'm going to start with you.
All right. I loved this movie when it came out and didn't really understand why the internet was so angry about it at the time. And rewatching it now, I still feel that same way and still don't understand why the internet hates this movie so much, because I feel like it does something. I should probably stop emoting with the hilt of a lightsaber.
Put the blade in.
The blade's in the corner. It's a hassle to have to put that in. I take the battery pack out so that the batteries don't die on it all the time, so I can show it off when people come over. So this movie does a lot of really interesting things for Star Wars. It plays on it plays with our expectations of what Star Wars should be, and goes to a really interesting place with some of the dialogue, like Luke calling the lightsaber a laser sword. That's not something that we've really heard throughout the series. I think Anakin said it in episode 1, and that's really it. There's just a lot of fun subverting of expectations here that made this film felt fresh. It felt different from Force Awakens. It didn't feel as paint by numbers as both Force Awakens and Rise of Skywalker ended up feeling in the context of this whole trilogy. And I really wish that we did get a Rian Johnson Star Wars trilogy. And I know there were discussions of that, and I feel like that's kind of either taken a back burner or fallen through with Lucas.
There's no way that's happening anymore, especially with the success of Knives Out right now.
Yeah, and I really wish we got that, because I feel like Rian Johnson is such an interesting storyteller.
That see-through onion really stole it from us.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Small price to pay for a fantastic series.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I wish we got more of Rian Johnson in Star Wars, because I feel like the direction that he brought here was something that Star Wars needed. It was fresh. It was different. It felt to me a lot watching this. I felt a lot of the same things watching this film as I did watching Rogue One when that released. This feels like Star Wars, but it feels inherently different. It's very much that Iger philosophy of, distinctly, like it feels like Star Wars, but it is unique and distinct in its own way that makes it feel fresh and engaging. And I wish we got more of it.
Ryan, how about you?
All right, for me, with this, when I first saw it, what I thought about was, one, I was also wondering, why is the internet so upset about this? Because when I saw people complain about online, they talk about like the weird force powers and all this shit, how they wouldn't act like this. I'm like, and all of your beloved expanded universe shit, this is these powers come from and all this. Like, this isn't just brand new stuff. You guys should be really into this, because it is not just replaying episode 5 like episode 7 did, where it was just 4. That's all it was. It was 4 with a fresh coat of paint, and that wasn't that fun. Like, it was cool in a nostalgia way, but this was cool in seeing a new side of Star Wars way, which I would have to agree with. Like seeing Rogue One, where like, oh, this is a war film told through a Star Wars lens. Yeah, this was a really deep thing about the power and all that of the Force and what it means at the end of the day. Because like, this is the first time we really saw what the Force was beyond like, you can lift things and it's good or bad.
I mean, they literally have the joke, right? Of like, it's a power the Jedi have to manipulate people and move shit.
Yeah.
And we get that whole bit with Rey reaching out to the Force, Luke thinking she looks like a lunatic, and brushing her hand with the palm leaf or whatever and smacking it. It's just like, it's so fun just playing around with these different concepts that we've known for decades at this point with the Star Wars mythos. And I really appreciated that. This felt like live action Rebels or Clone Wars. Like, it felt like a Dave Filoni production, which is why I think we're all loving Mandalorian the way we are, is because it's taking something we know and expanding upon it in a really interesting, fresh way.
Oh yeah. And then rewatching it, I had pretty much the same feelings. I was like, this is just a really fantastic Star Wars film. It changes up the formula enough, but also has those big epic moments you're looking for in a Star Wars film. Now, here's my hot take about it. This movie has the best Jedi lightsaber fight scene out of any of the Star Wars movies in his like throne room. That is the best fight scene in Star Wars.
I can agree with that.
It has the best lightsaber fight scene. It has some of the best dog fighting we've seen in Star Wars. It has arguably the greatest theatrical moment that I've ever seen from a Star Wars film at one point, where my entire theater gasped and there was no noise. And it was like, that was cinematic perfection.
This is the most artistic Star Wars. Period. Full stop. Except for maybe Andor now. But
I think Visions would be up there because it is so unique across the different episodes, and especially since we've gotten the announcements of which animation studios are going to be working on episodes for Visions Season 2.
Yeah,
May the 4th cannot come any sooner.
Yeah, right. How are you feeling about that? Because I saw that image and I got so excited.
Wallace and Gromit, Star Wars, baby, let's go.
This is gonna be real fun. Like, I like that it has moved away from anime, and now we're doing all these types of animation. I think it'd be really fun for just an animation hodgepodge of Star Wars.
I'm just waiting for the robot chicken jokes after this comes out. That's all I'm saying. No, coming out of the theater on this one originally, I was actually relatively lukewarm on this one. Love the movie now, but coming out of it, I was more of like, I don't know, like, it wasn't necessarily like high one way or high the other way. It was more of a, what the hell did I just watch?
This ain't your father's Star Wars.
It's a Star Wars fever dream in the best and the worst ways.
But yeah, as I've watched it more and more, I've grown to love this movie more and more. Like I said, it is my favorite Star Wars movie. And because it is like the little things in this that really bring it together me. Like the way that Kylo Ren fights in this is actually using his broadsword ass looking lightsaber like a broadsword. And like the way that he versus Rey use their lightsabers is entirely different. Having the whole, like, let's deconstruct the religion of the Jedi was so interesting to me. And the thing that really grew on me the more I watched it was everything in Cantobite. Like, my first time watching through the movie, I did not care. I did not care about Cantobite. It was interesting. I liked what it was doing for Finn and Rose, but that was about it. Going into it now, that might be one of my favorite parts of the movie.
I'm still lukewarm on that whole segment. There are parts of it that I like, but ultimately it doesn't feel very like in the grand scheme of this sequel trilogy. I don't feel the payoff of what the Canto Bite stuff is trying to set up, especially that end scene is such world building within the mythos of Star Wars, and we get nothing.
And I don't think
nothing
that's the fault
in episode 9.
Like I tried. The thing about this movie is you have to separate it from the Rise of Skywalker, because they gave this movie the middle finger by creating the Rise of Skywalker. Oh, yeah. But like everything with Benicio del Toro is so good to me. Of like, hey, these weapons dealers that are supplying weapons to the Empire are also supplying the Resistance. There are no good sides in war.
Yeah. No, that is a really cool scene. But my problem with Canto Bite is it was supposed to feel like in episode 1 when we went and did pod racing, and that's the best part of that film. But it ended up feeling like when we went to the like Gungam City in the beginning of that movie on Naboo, and that's the problem.
That is damning.
That also a very accurate description of how that scene felt in this movie.
That's fair. I still love the moment when they actually break out the animals. I don't have any idea what those things are called, but
I call them weird.
There's so many weird creatures in this film.
I'm sure
that's something I also
Star Wars. Star Wars is just weird creatures are us, right? Like,
yeah, but this one, like, unlike I felt like in the other two of this trilogy, they didn't have a lot of like the weird alien creatures that much. Yeah. Like there'd be like one or two, and this one had a lot of them. What was that thing Luke was drinking from? Still don't like it.
The origins of blue milk forever tainted what blue milk is.
They're called fathiers, which is a stupid name, but it's also very much a Star Wars name.
We got porgs, and we got that weird joke of Chewie eating a porg, and the porgs are watching Chewie eat the porg.
It's still such a fantastic joke. I love it so much. I love the porgs personally.
Oh, porgs are fantastic. I think they were a great little mascot for Star Wars. I was like, this is great.
That said,
they were like the porgs are the sequel saga's Ewoks.
Yeah.
You either love them or hate them.
Exactly. There is no middle ground.
The funny thing about the Porgs is I love them, but man, playing through the most recent Lego Star Wars game came very close to starting to hate the Porgs. Because they make the Porgs a damn collectible.
Oh, they're like, you find all the porgs throughout all the levels.
You have to rescue like 3 or 4 porgs on every planet. And there's every single planet that has been in a Star Wars movie is in that game.
Oh yeah, no, I've played the Skywalker, the complete.
I did not
Skywalker
make it into the sequel trilogy stuff, so no wonder I didn't end up seeing that.
Oh, I platinumed the damn game. Like, I saw everything this game had to offer.
I should. I don't really have much to play right now. All I've been playing is Marvel Snap because it's so goddamn good.
Mitch, this platinum took me 90 hours. Do not do it.
Never mind. Also, I don't really chase
I
platinum.
downloaded
more so I
Marvel
should finish
Snap.
the game.
Do I need to get into Marvel Snap? How good is
Yes.
this?
Nah, not really.
Yes. 100%.
I'm a trading card guy. Would I like it?
Oh, then that case,
Yes.
yes, play it.
Are you a Hearthstone guy?
I played it for a bit, like a decade ago, and enjoyed it.
If you enjoyed Hearthstone and have any affinity for Marvel as an IP, 100% you should just bury yourself in Marvel Snap.
Okay. I got an ad for it right now on my phone because I downloaded it. It says unlock MODOK. Battle in new locations.
MODOK is this month's season pass card. So what they've been doing is every month
MODOK and
the season pass. No, it's so MODOK is the season pass. So the way that they build their season pass, I'm sorry for anyone listening to this that wanted us to talk about The Last Jedi, because that is not happening for at least the next 5 minutes.
Hey, at least it won't be like last episode where we only talked about the movie for maybe 15 minutes.
That is also true. So every month they put out a season pass. The season pass includes 1 new card. In this month's case, it's MODOK, as well as 2 variants, which are basically for every card that Griffin, let's go. For every card that you unlock, you can unlock different versions of that card. So you get 2 variants, one for Wasp and one for Ant-Man as part of this season pass, as well as a bunch of other cosmetics and some of the premium currency and stuff like that. You don't have to buy the season pass to get MODOK. The way that they've got it set up is there are 5 different series that cards fall into. Series 1 and 2 are sort of the cards everyone will have the same set of cards when they get to a certain level, the collector level in the game. And then from there you start collecting the Series 3 cards. And then there are also random chances of getting a Series 4 or a Series 5 card. When a card enters a season pass, after that month it goes into Series 5. A month later it'll go to Series 4, and then a month after that it'll go to Series 3, making it more accessible. So it's really just a shortcut to getting MODOK or whatever the season pass card is sooner.
Okay.
It's definitely a
the
grind.
season pass cards are usually pretty good.
The last 2 have been so overpowered that the developers have been talking about having to nerf them soon. And people are upset on the internet because they paid for the thing, expecting it to stay that way. But they are way too overpowered, those cards being Silver Surfer and Zabu.
Who is Zabu?
Zabu's like a sidekick for Khazar.
He's a saber-toothed tiger.
Yeah, Savage Land creature.
Okay.
Legit,
Yeah, the last season pass was all about the Savage Land. Yeah. Yeah, so I mean that's
Zabu weirdly have like a massive role to play in Secret Invasion.
Hopefully they show up in that movie.
They're
but
not.
We're not here to
They're
talk
not
about Secret
showing
Invasion.
up in Secret Invasion.
Maybe we'll get a
Never
Savage
showing
Land
up.
Disney Plus show before we get Secret Invasion. You never know.
Look, we are not getting the Savage Land in MCU until at least the next saga.
You kind of do need X-Men before you get into the Savage Land.
But that is off the point. I'm bringing us back to Star Wars.
No, just to get back to your point, Stature, they are introducing a Stature card this month, but it'll be a Series 5 card, so it'll eventually make its way down to.
Okay, I've
what
yelled about
everyone
this
gets
before.
access
Is
to.
it Stature or is it Stinger?
In the game, it is Stature.
Fuck yeah, I'm back into Marvel Snap.
Yeah! There's also a Miss Marvel card coming eventually.
I am even more back into Marvel Snap.
It looks kind of it looks like it kind of sucks, and Stature is a direct counter to MODOK, which is actually kind of fun.
Oh, that's perfect.
Is MODOK good?
MODOK fits into a certain archetype of decks. So MODOK's ability is when he flips up, you discard your entire hand. But there are cards that synergizes with. Apocalypse, when he gets discarded, re-enters your hand with 4 more power. Swarm is a card that when it gets destroyed, you get 2 copies of Swarm.
Okay,
and
it's a
they both cost
self-mill
0.
style. Get rid of your stuff to bring it
Wolverine.
back way bigger.
I love
Exactly.
that we're talking
Wolverine, when
about
he is
MODOK
destroyed, goes anywhere random on the board, gets an extra power, like stuff like that.
I love MODOK. I think MODOK is a great
I
character.
love
He's a
MODOK,
big floating
MODOK
head.
from the hit game Marvel's Avengers.
I was gonna
I
say
bought that
Marvel's
game
Middle Alliance
twice.
1.
So did I.
No, you didn't.
I did. I bought it on PlayStation 4 and then purchased a digital PS5. So the only way to play that game on my PlayStation 5 was to buy a digital copy after already having bought a physical copy of that game.
I have the cap from the special edition sitting behind me.
Okay, that's worse. He bought the special edition.
That's bad. Well, you guys, you got all your stuff,
You
and
know
the
what? I
game
love
goes
the game.
away
I
soon.
made the bold claim that year that I liked Avengers more than I liked The Last of Us Part 2. So
I am
Yeah,
going
you were
to
a part of the
play the
problem.
story of Avengers on Xbox just because I want to get the achievements. And
Look.
also, it's a great story.
yeah, great story.
And
It
it's
is
on
a
Game Pass.
fantastic story. I will say that.
Also, my wife delivered me a chocolate milkshake from Dairy Queen.
I
and
was
I'm quite
curious
content.
what that was. I saw her walk in with that while Ryan was talking earlier.
I didn't want to
also-
interrupt, but we've completely derailed the entire
Can I
Last
tell you
Jedi
Now that we're
Star Wars
talking
yet?
about beverages, what you got from Dutch Bros? I see you with the Dutch Bros cup.
Let's not talk about what's in that cup. What's in that cup is it has been a long day. And we're going to leave it at that.
Aren't
Yeah,
they
I
all?
get it.
Aren't they all?
I will tell you off camera.
Straight vodka.
2 shots.
Anyways, Star Wars.
Oh,
I really love this movie. I think you mentioned it. Like, the fights are fantastic. Like I know I'm in the minority of loving Canto Bite, but even more than that was Poe's story in this one. Poe actually got a crap ton of character development in this. Does it all get thrown away? Yes.
Yes.
I was about to be like, you mean what got thrown away? Just into the dumpster?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Poe being an actual character? Go away. Go away.
And the
No,
way
you're
it
just-
all culminates, though, and like him realizing what they have to do because he's been forced into the situation because he's been an idiot. And then, shoot, why am I forgetting her name?
Um.
Oh,
Kelly
God.
Marie
She
Tran's
has
character?
2 names.
Oh,
Yeah, Vice Admiral Holdo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hold on.
Her sacrificing herself. It is one of the best, if not the best, moment in Star Wars.
Like I said earlier, that is the moment. Like, I know we're not spoilers yet, but like that is the moment for me that I will never forget where I was when I saw that scene in the theater. Like, it was.
Oh, yeah.
My jaw dropped. It was incredible.
I think also, like, I'm saying we are full spoilers at this point. This movie came out in 2017. Everyone's talking
Also-
about this movie.
It's a Star Wars
fair.
movie.
It's Star Wars. We're not talking about it the week after it came out, so no one cares anymore.
For me, not only does this have the best lightsaber fight with the throne room, it also has the second best lightsaber fight to me, which is that final fight in quotes between Kylo
Luke and
of one of the most just badass moments for Luke, of him going through all of this while he's still at the Jedi Temple, and then him disappearing while the sun quickly shows 2 dual suns like on Tatooine. It's just such
that's
a
the moment that
poetic-
gave me chills. The
for
end
sure.
of the movie gives me chills.
And like this movie, like genuinely, like this is a long movie, 152 minutes, and the best of it is that final hour.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I feel like we talk about, especially when we talk about like Marvel, and we do talk about Disney a lot. Like we're a Disney podcast, for God's sake. Like we always talk about how the third act isn't always the best. The third act is the best in The Last Jedi. The way it ramps everything up, the way it looks freaking dope. The
And you-
ragtagness of the Resistance, like pulling together these shitty speeders that just happen to be there, and the realization that, hey, no one's coming. Let's lose all hope there. We are going to die just for hope to be restored when Rey shows up. So good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand where the displeasure for this film comes from for a lot of people. Like, this is a genuinely fun film to watch. It's a little long. there is some fat that could definitely have been trimmed. I mean, when I pulled this up today to watch it, and it was 156 minutes, I shook my head and said, "What have Ryan and Griffin gotten me into?" And then proceeded to have a great time.
This was your idea.
So
this was originally your idea.
Shh. I just wanted us to get on. I wanted us to actually have an episode where we would have conflicting views. But no, of course, we get a panel full of people that love this friggin' movie because it's a good movie.
One of you didn't like it, and I was gonna be like, I get to support this great film.
I get to yell about how good this movie is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. I think we are going to get alternate history with this movie down the line. I think we're going to have a moment where people love this movie looking back on it.
I hope so.
And I think
it deserves that praise.
I think part of that is because of how bad Rise of Skywalker is. But I really do think people are going to look back on it and man, that was awesome. And then I get to yell at them because I'm like, you liars, you hated this movie.
The same way people are now having alternate history towards like episode 3, where everyone's like, episode 3 is fantastic. We all hated episode 3 for years. That was a thing.
Yeah, I mean, we will never agree that episodes 1 and 2 are good films, right?
No.
Like episode 1 has its
moments. What are you talking about? Episode 2 is the best Star Wars film. No, I'm kidding.
All right, I'm out. Bye.
No, they have their moments. I mean, episode 1 is what gave us pod racing.
And Duel of the Fates is iconic for
there was
a good part to that. There's no good part of 2. 2 is a sad film.
2 is just bad. 2 was made so that they would give Dave Filoni something to do with Clone Wars. That's it. That's the only reason that film exists.
I like 2 purely because it sets up Clone Wars. Also, I genuinely do think the fight in the arena in 2 is kind of fun. I don't think it's
weird,
good.
Ugly beasts.
I don't think it's good.
It's not.
But I think
good.
It's fun.
The only fight that I enjoy in episode 2 is Django and Obi-Wan on the platform on Genosha. Like that's fun, but like largely unnecessary, which is just the way I describe that entire film.
I will give it this. It gave me some fun planets to play on in Battlefront and Battlefront 2.
It did.
It also gave us one of the best pieces of Star Wars content, period, which is the show.
Clone Wars, yeah.
Oh, 100%. Mm-hmm. Oh, shit. Bad Batch is out. I keep forgetting to watch Bad Batch.
I'm like 2 episodes behind on this season, and I'm so sad. I want to watch it more. And then we got another one coming out tomorrow. Plus, we've got the finale for National Treasure Edge of History that you can hear Griffin and I talk all about in our weekly series that we've had going on.
The next series, because I've been rewatching a show on Netflix.
This is not a Netflix show, Griffin. You got to save that for April Fools.
The Netflix show is National Treasure, but better.
Oh.
Go watch Outer Banks.
I love how you committed to doing it weekly.
We committed to this, and I'll tell you what.
We are the ones.
It gets views. It gets views.
We have to be that obscure Disney podcast where we're not talking about Mando when that drops. No, we're talking about friggin' like Big Shot.
Ryan,
weekly.
Not only did we commit to doing this weekly, we committed to it being the first video that we put up on YouTube.
Yep.
You guys are fantastic. I love this podcast. It's a great time.
That's what we're here for.
I'm not saying it was the right decision. I'm just saying that it was the decision that we made.
There wasn't a right call. I mean, the right call probably would have been to wait and launch it with Mando or Ant-Man, but nah, screw it.
But I have the assets made, and we said.
Do I have to see Ant-Man this week? Is that this week?
That is next Friday.
Oh, thank God.
Which I've got tickets to see it on Friday, but I'm also taking a day trip to Buffalo on Thursday and thinking, should I get tickets to see it in Buffalo on Thursday too?
Let's see here. That comes out.
If anyone has movie theater recos in Buffalo, hit me up. Mr. Mitch George on socials.
All right, let's see. Thursday the 16th. We'll see it at 7 p.m.
Oh, we're going through his AMC order.
Do you not have your tickets already?
I haven't bought my tickets yet.
You told me you had tickets to see it on Friday.
I forgot to buy them, okay?
I've been scheduling our episode with our guests.
Look, I have the plans to go see them on Friday, but here's the thing. Here in Portland, no one gives a shit. So I can get tickets the day of.
Oh, I don't think anyone just cares about
to be able to do that.
Non-Spider-Man movies
This
anymore.
happened with Spider-Man 2. I bought tickets the week of.
That's insane.
And
Because
it
like
was
Spider-Man sold out here, but the other ones you could just go in. That's what I did for Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and I was like, "This is
that's what I did
fantastic."
too for Black Panther. I just walked in because I have like the Regal movie pass.
Movie
thing.
Club,
Yeah, whatever
Movie
it's called.
Pass.
I think it's called Regal Unlimited.
I'm
Yeah,
jealous
that
of y'all
sounds
and your
right.
movie subscriptions because like up here we've got one theater chain to kind of rule them all, and they've got their own quote unquote like subscription, but it is one ticket a month, no premium. You got to pay for premium. You do get discounted concessions, which is kind of nice. But really, the thing that irks me and the Canadians out there, you can lament with me on this. Earlier this year, our theater chain Cineplex introduced a ticket processing fee. You have to pay $1 per ticket if you're going to buy a ticket online, which makes no sense because who doesn't buy tickets online?
We have that,
but they waive. Ours is $1, but they waive it if you have the subscription.
Oh, they don't waive it if you have the subscription. I pay.
No,
50 cents
I
for
still pay
movies.
$1. Yeah, I still pay like 50 cents.
So dumb.
Anyways,
they're going well, and then AMC announced this week their friggin' tiered pricing system. That's gonna blow up in their face.
Yeah. Oh, it's gonna be horrible. I can't wait to watch it.
Oh, I'm like, how do you have ruined the sanctity of the movie theater, and I want this on record.
Yeah, they are encouraging people to either pirate more films or view them at home 60 days after they're out in theaters, which is what many people did with Black Panther Wakanda Forever, making it the most streamed Marvel movie to launch on Disney+.
Look, the one thing I do actually like about the AMC thing is that they made ADA seats cheaper.
That is good.
That is nice.
But they've made it cheaper in such a way that people are going to abuse the shit out of it.
Yeah, they're going to make it less accessible to those who actually need the ADA seats because people are going to choose the cheaper option. They basically turned the theater experience into a have-not system. It is you're the haves and the have-nots. If you have the funds, you can get the nice seats. If you don't, you're stuck on the aisle, which I end up stuck on anyway because my wife likes sitting on the aisle, which I've learned to not hate.
I love the aisle.
The best seat is first row that is elevated, middle. Hopefully this is a theater with the bar. You can put your feet up on the bar. Great time.
See, I have a system because I am me, right?
Yeah.
Of course.
It is always 5 rows back from that first row on the far left seat. That is where I will sit. That is where I will always sit. I am broken in my brain.
So we have started for these premieres. We've started going to the theaters that are 19 plus. So they're smaller theaters, more comfortable seats. They don't do the full recliner for the theaters that they need more people in those seats. They have some theaters at the 19 plus that are just comfy lounge seats and some that are full recliners. But there's fewer seats in the recliner theaters. So they put it in the theaters that don't have the moving seats. But even then, 19 plus experience. They'll serve me at my seat. Every seat in the theater is pretty good. I usually I'm with Ryan in these smaller theaters. I'm like 1 or 2 rows back at most. And I have a great time not having to watch movies with children yip yapping in my ear the whole time.
I like having kids there, but it's mostly because the kids that are like, ooh, or the kids making really funny jokes about that aren't. They are jokes. They're just asking their parents questions, and I will die laughing.
The last time I saw a movie in a regular people theater was the most recent Minions film.
So that was a mistake.
I will never see another movie like that again.
The last movie I saw was A Man Called Otto, and I'll tell you what, I left that theater depressed.
Yeah, that movie seemed like one that would kind of set you off.
Oh yeah, there should be a massive trigger warning before going into that movie.
I'm honestly worried about the Mario movie when that drops, and I'm worried it's not going to be in the 19 plus theater because they very rarely have animation in those theaters, and that will make me sad.
So speaking of
there's an age bracket theater.
Yeah,
okay,
so
I'm bringing us back on topic in 5 seconds. You have 5 seconds to go through this.
It's similar to the Alamo theaters you got in the US.
Yeah.
And it is age restricted, but they don't actually check IDs. So they just, I guess if you don't look like an adult, they kick you out.
Okay, cool. Now that we've said that, here's how I'm bringing us back on topic. Did you guys realize that the Taika Waititi Star Wars film is supposed to come out this year?
Yes. And we know nothing about it.
I'm very curious when we start to hear anything about
When is Star Wars Celebration?
May. So I expect that's where we're going to get
That's our December
Star
movie.
Wars Celebration.
Is it a December movie? I don't
they
think
said
we
late
know.
2023. They haven't given a date. Or
So
a-
that
I
would
would,
to me.
I would assume it's
December.
Christmas because
They always come
Do
out.
we
yeah,
know?
They always
Do we
come
know
out
a
in December.
Marvel movie for the winter?
That we do. I don't remember which one it is though. While you look into that.
Yeah.
What's the name of that last planet in The Last Jedi?
So Marvel, the only the last theatrical
Great.
release we're getting this
No,
year
that's a real
is
place,
the
I think.
Marvels in July.
Musical. I want it so bad.
The Marvels?
Yeah, that was the rumor that
No.
the Marvels is going to be a musical.
I really hope not.
If it is, it's instantly my favorite Marvel movie.
One, because it features Miss Marvel, and two, because it's a musical.
Literally just because it's a musical.
All right. Yeah, so there's a gap from July of this year to May of next year where we don't get a Marvel film. I assume we're going to get like 3 or 4 Marvel or Disney Plus shows. So yeah, you've got Quantumania this month, Guardians 3 in May, Marvel's in July, and then you've got Captain America New World Order next May, Thunderbolts next July, Blade next September, and Deadpool 3 next November.
Yeah, and then there's also all the shows and stuff, which is
So yeah, no, I see Star Wars then filling the gap for movies. That'd make the most sense to me.
Well, when is Elemental coming out? Is that a summer release?
That's a summer movie. I think it's
movie.
June.
I would bet you. I'll put my. I'm okay, folks. We're gonna break the veil of when things are recorded at the moment. We are recording this before the Super Bowl.
We are.
I am betting you money that release date gets announced during the Super Bowl.
That would be reasonable. And
Did it not come
also-
out during D23?
No,
No, we don't have a release date for Elemental yet.
Shit.
they like to announce their release dates fairly close to the actual release.
Yeah, that's fair.
Which we could just look at like the Disney slate for this year and find the release date fairly easily. But
Yeah.
The Disney slate for this year is weak. I was looking into that. I was
weird
like,
week, next year is
So-
stacked.
We
Oh,
say
yeah.
week, November 22nd, we will be getting the next Walt Disney Animation Studios film, Wish. So that is coming this year.
We're also getting
I
Indiana
just
Jones
want-
this year.
I forgot Indiana Jones is a part of them because they own everything.
They do.
Yeah, I mean that's not even everything. That's just Lucasfilm.
That's
Yeah.
summer though, right?
Yeah.
I swear at this point that Disney just owns Harrison Ford.
Oh no, we do have a release date for Elemental. It's June 16th.
Oh, sweet.
Hey!
No, seriously,
June
think
16th.
about this though. Harrison Ford has been in been in everything that Disney owns except for something Disney proper, which I'm sure he will be at some point.
Indiana
Oh,
Jones comes out 2 weeks after Elemental on June 30th.
Oh, that's gonna be a great couple of weeks for us on this show. We will be talking about both of those.
Yes, we will. And Transformers Rise of the Beast comes out the week before Elemental.
We won't be talking.
We
about
won't
that,
talk
but
about that, but I will be obnoxious about it on the
I was
internet.
gonna say we're both gonna watch it anyways. Anyways, Last Jedi. I
Spider-Verse
swear
in
we're
June.
getting us back on
are we
track.
gonna do Spider-Verse?
We are
Oh,
gonna do
talk about
Spider-Verse.
Spider-Verse? Yeah.
I'm working on the graphics right now. I mentioned this in the last episode. Bringing it back. There's one more scene I want to talk about, and then we will finally do the goddamn plot recap. The moment when Yoda shows up
That was dope.
was still one of the biggest surprises to me in this movie. And the fact that
Especially
it is,
as a puppet.
it's not. It is wise Yoda, the Yoda we all have really grown to love from both the prequels, the Clone Wars, and the original trilogy. But it's still the weird ass hermit Yoda from the original trilogy. Here he is a little bit insane, but in the best possible way. That laugh is one of my favorite things ever.
I just need to derail us once more and mention that they're still making the Kraven the Hunter film, and that's coming out in October, and I don't know why.
We're not talking about that. That movie doesn't
Okay.
exist. That movie is on the same lines of Morbius.
Trolls 3, though.
But yeah, Yoda showing up is... I love it so much. Frank Oz is just...
There were rumors for a long time that Ewan McGregor was going to reprise his role as Obi-Wan and probably fill a similar, if not tangential, role to Yoda being here. And I think using Yoda rather than Obi-Wan was the right call.
speaking of
Knowing
Yoda-
what we know now and that Ewan McGregor is going to come back and play Obi-Wan in a Disney Plus show, they probably would have been more synergistic to use Ewan McGregor and remind people that he played Obi-Wan. But at the same time, Yoda is one of the just those characters that is iconic across film, television, print media. Like Yoda's everywhere.
At the same time,
so
Ryan
much
Johnson
so.
didn't give a shit.
There's also that. Yeah.
Mhm.
This is one of those movies where it's like, even for you Star Wars fans want all of the callbacks. The callbacks are not only good in this movie, but make sense for the plot of this movie.
Mhm.
Like, the major callback that comes to mind when I think about this movie is R2 and Luke reuniting. And R2 has the audacity to replay the video from A New Hope. And Luke is just like, you shit. That was low, even for you. Also, here is your reminder, folks, that R2-D2 is a menace. And we love him for it.
R2-D2 is
Oh.
chaos incarnate. And it's great.
R2-D2 is he's just a little guy. He just
I still, to this day, and I will continue to pitch this movie, I want a quote-unquote buddy cop movie that is about R2-D2 and Chopper from Rebels. It is just them causing mayhem.
isn't it
It's
just two
just-
bad cops?
I mean,
Yeah, it's bad cop in the vein of Wall-E, where there won't be any talking or anything. It's just them being obnoxious little shits.
honestly, with
I'm all
those two,
about
it'd
it.
probably be more like Bonnie and Clyde than a bad cop. But, but like, I just want those two together because that's one of my favorite moments in Rebels is those two interacting. It just immediately both loving each other and hating each other. Also, I had to find a way to bring up Rebels at some point.
No, we're talking Star Wars, of course.
It had to happen.
I
Yeah,
will find a way to bring up Rebels in almost any conversation.
we've talked about it almost every episode we've ever recorded of this show.
That is an accurate statement. You know what other thing we've talked about far too often? Percy Jackson.
I was gonna say Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, but that works
Exactly.
too. They wrapped filming.
How do we feel about the casting?
I like 90% of the casting.
Okay,
Adam
that's
Copeland
pretty
is
good.
Adam Copeland as Ares is not something I knew I needed.
Edge.
Edge, baby.
Yeah, I was like, don't you? I'm like, what's that? I'm like, lexicon. I'm like, that's Edge.
I think the
Oh, yeah.
most
Um.
the most unhinged casting in that is also the best casting, and that is Jason Mantzoukas as Dionysus.
Yep. Jason
That's
Mantzoukas
oh,
in
that is
anything.
Since
fun.
I've been
That
listening
is-
to this is a very I'm about to say the most Griffin shit possible. So I've been listening to the Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief musical soundtrack lately.
They made a musical of that shit.
They did, and it's fantastic.
God damn it.
That is
But
some
in it,
Griffin action.
Dionysus has a song where it's like entirely just him yelling at Percy and a couple of other campers. And every time I listen to it, I can't help but think of Jason Mantzoukas singing it. It is the greatest.
You can fully anticipate Griffin being incredibly obnoxious while we cover that show weekly next year.
Oh, I can't.
Um,
Also, I learned that
but
the production designer on it was the production designer on Lord of the Rings. So I just get more and more hyped about this show.
you've also got Lance Reddick as Zeus, which again, not something I knew I needed
The
in my
best
life.
casting.
Oh, it's so good. I was like, when I saw it, I was like,
Aside from the big
okay.
By the big three, I do not mean Poseidon, Zeus, and Hades. I mean Percy, Annabeth, and Grover. Anyways, I keep trying to bring us on topic. We're like 50 minutes
Last
into this damn
Jedi.
show. Yeah, Yoda's awesome. Everything on Crate, awesome. We finally want to do plot recap. Do you have anything about the movie, not about anything else, about the movie that we want to talk about before we do plot recap?
The scenes on Crate were really cool because of its use of color. We hadn't seen color used that way in Star Wars before. It was really great to see this juxtaposition of red on white.
Oh, I
That's
would say
all I got.
throughout the whole movie, color is used so poignantly throughout it
Yeah.
for a lot of the major choices and things like that. So, but you also notice that with Ryan Johnson in a lot of his work, like if you look into like Knives Out, color's a big part of that. So I think that's something he brings, and yeah,
I think that it's that artistic nature that we said that Ryan Johnson really uses.
Yeah.
in this. Like the way he uses that, the way he uses cinematography is fascinating. Like I'll always come back to that Luke dying scene of like the way that is shot of like having him mostly in the center of the frame, the way it focuses on both the rock, him, and the suns. It's just the cinematography and the color in this is just perfect.
Oh yeah.
Not to mention, frankly, the music. Like John Williams killed it, and he always killed it. It's John Williams, but
Yep.
like he really killed it with this one.
Did it? I'm still disappointed that it didn't get a nomination at the Academy Awards for visual. Like, it got visual effects, sure, those were great, but the way this was shot, its use of color, the framing of this film, it did have some weird points. Like that whole mirror scene was like a fever dream, and I don't know why it happened. But there is such
cool.
It does, but it's also really weird. I'm just surprised it didn't get a nomination for that.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
Thankfully, it did for score, sound editing, and sound mixing, which I thought were phenomenal throughout the film.
There's one more thing I want to talk about, but I am going to wait for the plot recap because it's the final scene of the movie. So
Let's do it.
We're doing the plot recap. I haven't done one of these in a little while. This is going to be fun.
No, it's not. We're going to go off the rails so quickly and just go back to talking about Marvel stuff. It won't even be funny.
50 minutes? Jesus Christ. No, we start with the resistance forces fleeing the First Order fleet in a scene that is eerily similar to A New Hope. They're running away. They're getting their asses handed to them. But Poe flies up, the single lone X-Wing fighter. It just starts making fun of General Hux. It is fantastic. It is wonderful. I love this moment.
Again, more character development for Poe, which was sorely needed after the way he was used in both episode 7 and subsequently in episode 9. So
for
yeah,
him,
we
but
didn't
also
know
for Hux
all
as
of
well.
Poe was gonna go away.
Like I love the moment where he's like, "Sir, he's playing you," and that's immediately we hear him like, Leia has a message for his mother. But yeah, Poe's having a good time messing with him. Then he runs out and takes out a bunch of their guns so that bombers can come in and destroy the garrison ship, the big shippy thing.
the Juggernaut?
No, the Juggernaut's from Marvel. Also, the Juggernaut might be an X-Men, which is weird. Anyways,
we're doing Juggernaut again. Just so close after Deadpool 2.
He's not even a mutant. That's the funny thing about it.
No, he has a funny helmet.
Anyways,
Dreadnought.
Dreadnought.
It was a Dreadnought.
Most of
Wikipedia saved me on that one.
The most of the bombing fleet gets destroyed, except for one, and we get this wonderful moment of this soldier going through all hell to drop these bombs. It's very dramatic and very fast.
Who we eventually learn is the sister of Rose. Yeah.
I love this whole opening because it just gets you right in there. You're like, I'm hearing the music, I'm seeing the ships and the lasers. Then you have this big drama piece happening with the bombers. Oh, it's a fantastic way to open a Star Wars.
We're about to get into one of the scenes that people hate. So.
I think this movie has probably the best cold open of a Star Wars film, like post scroll, since episode 3.
I also want to talk about that scroll for a second, mostly because I'm mad at it. When I turned it on last night to watch it, I had the biggest jump scare for some reason on the music cue for the scroll.
That happened to me too for some reason. I was maybe distracted by something else, then it hit me in the face.
Like I turned it on and then started scrolling through TikTok like I do.
Our generation is the generation of short attention spans. That's for goddamn sure.
Oh, I do 5 things at once always.
If I don't have at least 3 screens around me, then the thoughts get in.
Exactly. We're fine.
That hurts to be so true.
We're fine. No, at this point, as they're getting back, Leia is yelling at Poe. It turns out that this whole attack was against Leia's orders. It lost them a lot of good people. It was a very risky, a very stupid decision. And I think at this point, that's when she demotes Kylo Ren from commander to captain. While this is happening, Kylo gets on his own ship to track him down. Oh, that's right. They go into hyperspace. They come out of hyperspace. The Empire comes out of hyperspace. They can track them through hyperspace. That's one of the major plots of this movie.
Hyperspace.
At which point Kylo shows up, blows up the Resistance ship's bridge, killing Admiral Akbar. but also
Rip.
sending Leia into space, where she then proceeds to use the Force to drag herself back onto the ship.
That was dumb.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
As long as we can
Yeah.
agree on that. That bit was dumb.
It wouldn't be dumb if they had set that up before. Like, of course, like Leia's going to be a Force user. Like, that just makes sense. But
set up the fact that Force users can, 1, survive the vacuum of space, and 2, save themselves from said vacuum of space.
the vacuum of space thing isn't even the thing that bugs me. Like, that is something that's just like, that's some Star Wars shit that I'm like, okay, I can accept it. But I'm me. Anyways, they get back. They're running low on fuel. Vice Admiral Holdo is now in charge. She has very purple hair and a very purple dress. They really went all out for the purple with her, and I appreciate it. Meanwhile,
Laura Dern was fantastic throughout this whole film.
Laura Dern is fantastic in anything she's in.
Oh yeah.
I still haven't seen that most recent Jurassic World film.
Tell you what, the movie's
And
bad, but Laura Dern is fantastic.
Okay.
Those movies don't exist. There was one of those, and it was kind of okay.
Look, I love watching those movies because they're shit shows.
Jurassic Park 3, baby.
Second one in the house. That is selling up for war.
Stupid.
So bad.
Now I'm just trying to figure out if this is streaming anywhere in Canada. And I can
Anyways,
watch
Rey's
it.
on Octa with Luke. Hands him his lightsaber, which he proceeds to throw off a cliff.
I do love how that scene picked up directly from the close of episode 7. And again, the subverting of expectations of, you see that scene in episode 7, it's like, oh my god, she's going to start her Jedi journey just like Luke did with Yoda. And it starts here by him proceeding to throw the thing.
It's such a
cliff.
great moment that like really sets the tone for this movie.
Or for Luke just being this jaded old curmudgeon, which I think
I was
perfect.
with Luke, I love that instead of being like this kind of weird but like fun old person like Yoda was, he's just a mean old bastard now who's like, the world has wronged me and I'm blaming everyone for it. So I'm going to hang out here on my little island, drink my weird milk, and have a good life.
Which is funny
His
because
warm blue milk.
When you really start to like unpack it with him, it's not that he blames the world; it's he thinks he's going to fuck up the universe.
Yeah, he's like, I am a problem, so I'm gonna stay on my little island.
It's like, please leave me alone. I am the problem. It's me. I will get Taylor Swift references into this as well.
There we go. That's what I want.
No, we get this awesome conversation back and forth of Luke's like, the Jedi were the problem. They were. The Jedi should end. They should. I'm not going to train you, Rey. Okay, maybe that's not the right call. He is surprised that they're there on the Falcon. Chewie shows up. It's a wonderful reunion. Chewie yells at Luke, rightfully so. He kind of deserves it.
Yeah.
We get a sad moment of Luke learning that Han died, and then he comes to accept it extremely quickly.
I want the Force. I accept this.
I'm like, Han was one of your best friends.
Yeah, but we also don't know how much time has passed there. Like, this version of Luke has become more, like, he's more accepting of the end, especially as we see, like, his journey throughout this film is ultimately understanding, his time has passed. It's time to pass this along to a new generation. Mm-hmm. And that does also include Han and to an extent Leia, and they really did have, in hindsight, knowing that we tragically lost Carrie Fisher shortly after the release of this film, it would have been a great send-off to have, had all of these characters.
Was it not before this film?
No.
It was after this film wrapped, but before the release. Yeah.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because we were all wondering what was going to happen with it.
Because I believe Leia does die at the end of this movie.
No, she dies.
She dies in 9.
Because that's the thing I always thought about this film is they could have just edited for that opening shot with her where we lose her, and it would have been a heroic moment and an honorable moment instead of having weird parts of it in episode 9, because episode 9 is not willing to have existed. Believe this film happened.
But also, I think one of the best moments is at the end with Leia.
Yeah,
that's fair. No, that's fair.
And like, you can't give that up. Like, that is like
no,
the
you
heart
can't.
Of this movie coming back. Although at the same time, it would have played really well into that "Let's lose all hope" storyline.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, they're there. We get some interesting stuff here. We learn about the dyad and the Force between Rey and Kylo, which is such an interesting, cool idea to play with. We learn a little about that. We learn a little about why Kylo hates Luke. Kylo saw him go bad. Another thing that I really love in this movie is seeing it from both sides and then seeing how it actually went. What else do we have? We learn about the Jedi Library.
Yeah, the old books in the tree.
You know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to go through the entire Octo storyline because why not? Plot, actual timing doesn't matter here. We're just having a good time. They're going there. They're training. Luke starts to train Rey. We have the whole Force joke of she actually reaches out. Then as she starts to reach out through the Force, she sees everything, but she immediately goes to the dark. Luke is extremely concerned by this, as he should be, at which point they talk and that he explains what happened with Kylo. Rey is convinced, though, that Kylo can be redeemed. Luke, less so. Actually, Luke, absolutely not. They fight. Rey takes off. Luke, at this point, is like, fuck it. I am going to burn the Jedi Library. It's only like these 4 books. It's not much of a library, if we're really being honest. I think a library...
Of which only 3 books actually get destroyed. She kept one of the books a secret book and all that.
So yeah, she
Didn't
technically has...
matter at the end of the day, so who cares?
It only matters in the Lego Holiday Special.
Actually, yeah. Now that you mention it.
She does pull those out to teach
required viewing
in the Lego Holiday Special.
You know, of all Star Wars properties I wasn't expecting to hear about would be the Lego Holiday Special from the Force Awakens times.
Look, the only reason I remember that is because we did an episode on it when it came out.
Oh, that's lovely.
She takes off. Luke goes to bring the library, but can't do it. When he hesitates, Yoda does it for him.
I love that Yoda's like, fuck it. Let's ball.
I like that Yoda's essentially a god now as well.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Like, Yoda was so powerful in the Force, he became a god.
He's like, smited.
It's just that perfect level of Star Wars campiness.
Oh, yeah. Especially since he is a puppet ghost in this.
Again,
oh, it's so good.
Yoda laugh. It is my favorite sound effect in Star Wars. Aside from the Yoda death animation from the original Lego Star Wars games. That is slightly better and slightly funnier.
You're not wrong.
Anyways, let's move over to let's talk
Canterbite.
about yeah. As Finn and Rose realize that they are tracking them through Lightspeed, they realize that they can only be tracking them through the first ship. Through some reason, I think it was called active tracking.
Yeah, it was active tracking applied to hyperspace travel, meaning it had to be from the first ship. But you're also skimming over the fact that Finn tried to jump ship in order to keep Rey away from the impending doom that this ship is going to have to, suffer through.
Which of course then she comes and saves them at the very end because of course.
And she gets Finn gets poked and almost exploded through the back of the escape pod by Rose.
Which was a great moment of Rose realizing what Finn is doing.
Oh yeah.
And it's just instant. It's like, you bastard. Stab. But yeah, they realize what's happening here, so they call up Maz to see what's going on. They need a very specific way of getting into the ship. Which is one of those moments I'm like, okay, this is just getting us to another place. They need a very specific, expert code breaker to get in so that they can get around the First Order's very, every hour changing on the hour codes. She tells them to go to Canobite and find the man with a red plume on his lapel. Such a very oddly specific tell. Which I respect.
Yeah. It would have made much more sense to be like, find this person. Here is what their face looks like. But no, it's look for the red nom de plume, and then all hell breaks loose once they hit.
I also love that the
Canobite.
entire time Maz was telling about it, it's heavily implied that Maz fucks.
And this is the last we hear of Maz throughout the entirety of Star Wars.
Which is too bad, because Maz is a fantastic character.
Yeah,
Yep.
curious why Maz was the one that they eroded from this, because they were an episode 7 character to begin with.
There really wasn't, to be fair, for the story of Rise of Skywalker, there really wasn't a good place to put her into that story.
Well, there wasn't really a good place to put 90% of the characters they used into that story, but they did it anyway. So
That wasn't a good place to put that story.
Fair.
They also introduced Kerry Russell's random bounty hunter character that had history with Poe and
then she
Babu
dies.
Freak. And
Yeah, why couldn't that have just all been with
Maz.
Maz about her
That is
cantina?
a good point, but also I do love Babu Frick.
I do, but
Well,
also
he could be
like,
living in her basement.
they spent too much time setting this up, and they didn't spend enough time on the plot developments that have been happening in the last 2 movies, including forgetting 90% of what happened in this movie, which is why that movie is not a good movie.
What do you mean the moment
this
when
one is a good
C-3PO
movie.
literally forgets this movie?
She was like, I'm going to forget my friends, and especially episode 8. Never to be remembered.
Also, just to remember, give all those memories, except for episode 8 for some reason, about an hour later.
Episode 8.
It's Star Wars. We have to forget about it at some point.
Anyways, where was I?
No.
Yeah, Canobite. So they go to Canobite. They find the dude, but as they're getting up to a dude, they get arrested because they parked on the beach illegally, and one dude got really upset.
This was dumb.
It's dumb, but also it's kind of perfect for Canobite. It is the most rich person complaining bullshit possible.
That was the most Karen-ass alien I've ever seen.
It's just...
That's not. I didn't know I needed that.
It's
it's just facts. I'm sorry.
That's just a Karen. That is a Star Wars Karen right there. Anyways, they get arrested and they meet DJ in the prison, which proceeds to break out of very easily.
It's like, I'm just chilling here. It's one of those kinds of situations.
Film there so we can show off.
Out, we see BB-8 being a badass again.
Is this when he was shooting quarters?
Yeah, but I love it because he rounds the corner and there's just 6 guys passed out and maybe dead on the floor. Another guy rounds the corner because for some reason people just kept feeding coins into him in the casino because they thought he was a machine. Which I guess technically he was, but you know what I'm saying. He just shoots all the coins at a dude. It's great. Also, I love that DJ is mildly afraid of BB-8, as he should be. Droids are terrifying, as we learned in the entirety of the prequels.
Factor or 2. Terrifying.
They get out of there, or they break out all of the weird beasts. We got to alternate these kids who are freaking adorable. I love all of these kids. And they are very inspired by the Resistance. You can tell that, news has traveled far and wide about the Resistance. I really actually love this plot point. They trust them because they are the Resistance. And I love how that comes around at the very end of the movie as well. Meanwhile, that's happening. Oh yeah, then they go to the ship. On their way to the ship, we get that scene of everyone's horrible. There's no good side on the side of war. Also, capitalism is bad. No shit. Always feels weird when a Star Wars movie, major company franchise goes for capitalism, but I'm here for it. Fuck yeah.
That's like, okay, Star Wars.
Okay. Again,
Sure.
I always call it, but the fucking manifesto in Andor is one of the funniest things to me because it's a great moment. It's a very important moment for Star Wars and just kind of the world in general. But then you remember who's putting out this movie and that it's on a Disney specific streaming service. I still want Disney to put it out as an actual book because I think it'll be funny. I mean,
they're putting out the Ant-Man book. Anything is possible.
Yeah, the manifesto makes more sense than the Ant-Man book, if we're being honest.
One's funny and one could be pretty dire and kind of point fingers at corporate propaganda as well, which is essentially what the manifesto would be. So it's kind of ironic if it were to be published and people bought it, even though it's in spite of giant mega corporations kind of owning and operating everything like Disney does.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Again, the irony of Disney doing
Yeah.
this shit. Anyways, while they're there, they get captured. At which point we get this great moment of Phasma coming up and talking to Finn. Finn's just like, "Oh, god damn it!"
Shout out to Phasma. Always
Such an
shout out to
Boba
underutilized
Fett.
character.
Phasma got
Yeah.
Boba Fetted in this movie.
Oh yeah.
So you're telling me we're gonna get a Captain Phasma prequel series at some point on Disney Plus?
No, but we also didn't get a Boba Fett prequel series, so
That's true. Sequel
we
series.
got a
I don't
Boba
know.
Fett series.
Yeah.
That is really
Yeah,
just
so we're gonna
an
get our
interstitial.
Captain Phasma series.
It's really just an interstitial to get us to the next season of Mando.
Yeah. Well, we get that whole lot, like when or I guess in a bit when they start their fight, he's like, "Bring it on, Chrome Dome." I'm like, "No, you had such good writing, and then you used Chrome Dome in a sentence."
That's TMNT. It's great.
Yeah, but it works for TMNT. It doesn't necessarily work for Star Wars.
Not necessarily. Some people will say it does. I am not one of those people.
While everything's happening here, at some point, I think it's at some point the ship starts to blow up. I don't remember if it's because of. I thought they
Oh,
got
it's
off.
because of the moment when all
no,
of the
yeah, that's right.
transports are getting blown out of the sky or the
Mhm.
space, and Holdo takes command of the ship one last time, engages hyperspeed, and all of our jaws collectively drop.
We do have one scene to go through though before we get to that moment, which is Rey.
Damn it!
Oh
Yeah, that's right.
Which is
I
I
forgot
know,
Rey
one
was
of
in
those
this.
things
lot.
that's not like made to be a joke, but is still hilarious to me that the Falcon just comes through, jets her out, and then jets off again.
Why didn't that raise any alarms for the ships of like, hey, something just popped into and out of hyperspace. Should we not pursue that?
I mean, I'm
As a
assuming
threat?
it's because it was A, so damn fast,
I suppose.
and B, too small for them to notice. But yeah,
Fair
they
enough.
shoot her out in this like single human pod that looks like the pod that Batman keeps the suit in the Arkham games. And
It does.
when she gets out of the pod, she sees Kylo Ren waiting for her. Takes him there to talk to Snoke. Snoke is a giant creepy bad man. We get this all wonderful moment of like them yada yada yada. Kylo kills him because he's a dick. One of those just amazing shots again of the lightsaber coming back towards them, and then Rey just putting her hand up and catching it. It's great.
Yeah. Through him. It was fantastic. That whole fight scene. God, that fight scene's good.
We get the beginning of that fight. We cut back and forth between that and Poe's mutiny a little bit here. He takes over the ship because honestly
He
he's kinda
doesn't
fair on
trust that
this
Holdo
one.
has the
Holdo
resistance,
hasn't told
best
anybody
interest at heart.
shit.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah,
fair.
no, I think he has some right there where he's like, this is a dire situation with a lot of people. We should be talking about the plan.
And they were talking about it internally amongst the leadership, of which he is no longer a part of because he done goofed at the beginning of this with the whole Dreadnought situation.
Like the only leg they had to stand on Finn being wrong was because he was a part of the group and kicked out. But literally you make it any other character and they are fully in the right.
Yeah.
Like, we just want to know what's happening. We want to know if we're going to live. Spoiler alert, probably not. Most of them die. That's just how it is. I'm sorry, folks. If anyone that is not an important character dies.
Yeah, that's Star Wars.
I say that's just movies. That's Hollywood.
Yeah. Less up to side characters.
Once that's happening, the fight's happening. They eventually beat everybody. It's very cool. It looks fantastic. The red on red. So awesome. So good. At which point we get one of my favorite moments with Kylo Ren of him being like, let the old die. Because it's this great moment of like him being right, if we're being honest. Like, let the
and
old
being
die.
right, but also being kind of a dick about it.
Yeah, let the Jedi die, let the Sith die. And then he goes off the deep end of we could rule everything together.
It was so close.
Mm-hmm.
And
He
then went
almost had
way in the other direction.
It's very much that thing of like having the correct answer but the wrong conclusion.
Yeah. Like, oh, the math almost worked out there.
Yeah,
But
it's a
then you
thing of
fumbled it.
you have everything right, but you forgot to write down the answer.
It's too bad that close only works in horseshoes and hand grenades.
Which points they begin to fight. We have the great moment of them both using the Force on, I think it's Luke's lightsaber.
Oh, and it explodes.
Yeah, and it explodes.
Yeah.
So cool, so great. At which point, Rey gets out of there. We also have the moment of like everything blowing up. Yeah, that's at that point is when Holdo sacrifices herself, goes through with Lightspeed. The greatest moment in all of Star Wars.
I love that Hux is like, oh, ignore that. Focus your fire on these, other ships. And again, him not being observant at all comes back to bite him in the ass, and that his entire fleet gets obliterated by one ship. Mm-hmm. And if this were a possibility, why is this the first time it's happening in Star Wars?
Because the only person that thought to do it was Rian Johnson,
I suppose.
But also I love how this sets up like the one thing that like actually does have a through line in these movies is Hux being an idiot and eventually getting killed for it. Like as much as we've talked about how bad the Skywalker saga or Rise of Skywalker is, I think it's hilarious the moment when we learn that Hux is a fulcrum and then immediately gets shot and killed.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Because he's just an idiot. He's horrible.
Oh, a lot of episode 9 is lost.
Because it all blends together in 2 hours and 45 minutes of chaos that should have been 3 movies and not 1.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, everyone's on their way down to Canobite. Rey gets out. Oh, this is when we get the fight between Phasma and Finn, where Phasma immediately gets fucking killed.
Yeeted.
We also
like in the space, right?
Yeah, falls through a hole into space. But at the same time, as stupid as that was, we get this wonderful, wonderful scene of BB-8 having taken over a chicken walker.
I was also wrong. Somehow, Rise of Skywalker is shorter than this movie, and it feels 10 times longer.
Damn.
Is it 2:30?
It's 2:23.
Fuck! And hell.
So not by much.
About 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
That's still a way longer movie than I thought. I thought that was a 3-hour and like 10-minute film.
Definitely feels like it. It feels like Avatar lengths.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I enjoy
not a good
Avatar.
comparison.
I still want to continue to shout out though BB-8 on the chicken walker because it's funny.
Yeah, it shouldn't work as well as it does, yet it does, and we love it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the BB-8 of things that I do enjoy from this trilogy. Love BB-8. The droids in this one, fantastic.
The
I love how much
in general. Like we get the evil one in this movie.
I was gonna say there's such a marketing push for the evil BB unit, and he's in the movie for like 2 minutes.
He is a full ass boss fight in the Lego game too.
I know, it's crazy.
It's a great boss fight too.
I should play.
I mean, I always feel like there's like the background droids that always get so much love, like mice droids and gonks.
Gonk droids.
Gonk droids.
Well, they basically disguise BB here as a gonk unit, even though it very clearly does not work on anybody that has eyes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I love it. It makes it even better that the only one that notices is the other droid.
Yeah.
Because no one else gives a shit.
No, they're like, something's moving on the floor.
It's the First Order. It's the Empire. No one cared. They're inept. Anyways, everyone makes their way down to Crate. The First Order then arrives and shows up with a bunch of AT-ATs, bunch of TIE fighters, and a massive fucking cannon.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the big cannon.
I mean, bad guys in Star Wars have to have big guns to compensate for something.
Anyways, as the Resistance is getting into their base, a TIE fighter comes down and crash lands into it. Hey, it's Finn and Rose and BB-8. And also, this is another moment that I just find funny of them just blasting the shit out of this TIE fighter. They're like, please don't kill us. Please don't kill us. We're good. Because, like, the only people that knew about the plan were, like, Finn. And I think he told Holdo. who's dead. It doesn't matter.
Now,
Well, he kind of said it to the room.
That's
I just
the
don't know
next
who was
thing.
listening other than Holdo.
And most of those people are dead.
Also very true.
so many dead.
Anyways, everyone's showing up. They don't have much way to fight back. They are trying to get word to their allies in the Outer Rim while all this is happening. Their plan,
Is this when they're riding the weird little like bikes?
Yeah, they ride these like mining.
I
vehicles.
hated these things.
I hated
I
it, but
hated
I
how
loved
they
it as
look.
well.
I'm like, they're the balancing on this little needle like a Beyblade.
The visual of it, though, of like the salt kicking off of it.
It was cool looking for that, but the vehicle itself looked stupid.
Also, like these things, looking at them, they should not have been able to run. They were so run down and beat up.
Yeah.
But it made for interesting visuals. There's so much here that we have to suspend disbelief for. And it works because it's Star Wars. You can suspend disbelief for nearly anything except for drinking warm blue milk. That's still weird. And while these things shouldn't work, it made for really
Warm
cool
blue
visuals.
milk.
So I'm okay with
I
it.
will say though, shout out to the blue milk, because of that, we now have blue milk at Galaxy's Edge, and it is weirdly
but the
good.
green milk is
The
superior.
blue milk,
The green milk is superior. You are correct.
the green milk is better, 100%.
But like when you go, you gotta, at least for your first time going, you
Oh,
gotta,
you
gotta try
get the
both.
blue milk.
You gotta try
You
both.
gotta. Yeah, you get the mix.
We tried both. We did them both separate because you need to know one over the other, and it's definitely actually, honey.
The first time I went, I only got the blue milk because it was just me. But like the next day, I went back with my little brother, and I forced him to get blue milk, and I got green milk.
Yeah, I think because the first day we went to Galaxy's Edge, we got the green, and then I think the second day when we went back, when I built the lightsabers, when we did the blue.
Anyways, yeah, so they all do this thing. The siege cannon is about to fire, and Rose saves Finn. Then she kisses him. That was one of the only moments I was like, this didn't really feel necessary. But I'm like, hey, y'all do you. Go for it.
Odd relationship. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it was one of those where it's like, I didn't like it, but I didn't hate it.
No, it just felt like, we're doing this.
I guess this is Star Wars. We have to have some romantic element. Like,
And then we can completely disregard that relationship in the sequel because that's what Hollywood does
because
to
they wrote out
interracial
they wrote out
relationships.
Kelly Marie Tran because
Yeah.
people are fucking horrible on the internet.
Yep.
Fuck those people.
I mean, fuck the people that listen to those people and actually action on things that, belittle and discourage, folks who are visible minorities from getting representation in one of the largest multimedia properties in the world. And I know I'm saying that from a place of privilege, but just,
Reminds me on that note,
fuck white people, honestly. Like, we're the worst.
Yeah. On that note, give us
royally,
a Dr. Aphra series.
I'm not the worst. I'm saying white people collectively are kind of shit.
And on that note, give us the Dr. Aphra series. Get more queer representation in Star Wars. I know she's already there in Star Wars, but I want a TV show, damn it.
Please.
100% agree.
Look, can't you just imagine? Like, we kind of got a little bit of it in Bad Batch, which I won't spoil, but just Star Wars archaeology show.
It shouldn't work, but it would.
It would.
It does. Especially with, like, the ancient past of the Jedi. And then, here you go. Here's your marketing for you, Star Wars. You can tie it in with the whole old Star Wars stories happening right now. That's like
High Republic
High
stuff.
Republic, thank you.
Ooh.
Like, there's your
Now-
That's a little spicy.
But do you get Sam Neill to play the lead archaeologist?
No, the lead archaeologist is Dr. Aphra.
But I want more Jurassic Park in my Star Wars, goddammit.
The whole point of this was Dr. Aphra.
Okay. Can
We got lost in the idea.
play another archaeologist? I don't know. I
The
just
whole
like Sam
point
Neill and
of
things.
this.
Just put Sam Neill and stuff. Sam Neill's cool.
I mean, you're right. Sam Neill can be a side character, but he doesn't matter compared to Dr. Aphra.
Fair enough. I gotta read more Star Wars comics.
Again, read Dr. Aphra.
Yeah, dude, that's fun.
They're very good. Actually, the Dr. Aphra book right now is not fantastic, but it's also amazing. They're doing that thing in Star Wars comics right now that comics do every once in a while, where you got to read like 6 or 7 runs.
What is the wait? Does Star Wars crossover?
Oh yeah, all of the Star Wars comics cross over with each other. They were doing this thing called the Crimson Reign, where like everything that had to do with bounty hunters, and then also for some reason Luke, was crossing over with each other, and it was about what's her name from Solo, Han's love interest in Solo.
Oh, yeah,
Kira, yeah.
Yeah.
She like took over the Crimson whatever, and she was basically trying to take over.
Yeah, she took over Maul's gang.
Mm-hmm. It was really cool. It's just comic book events are really rough in that regard of, hey, I'm going to buy 30 comic books in a month. Like, no, people struggle to do that. Don't do that to people. I recently tried to do this with Dark Web and it didn't go well. Actually, Dark Web wasn't that bad. Back to the point of us talking today. They do their thing.
The rest of The Last Jedi. Yeah.
At which point Luke shows up. Again, great moment of him and Leia reuniting, him handing her the dice. The dice that Han kept on his ship at all times, which was very much an actual thing that we saw. It was very much an actual thing that we saw like throughout the entire original trilogy, but it was just something that never had attention brought to it until Solo had to make a very, very clear nod to it. And he goes out to duel. We got, again, this duel is fantastic and amazing. Of him just goading Kylo into everything and him getting just more and more pissed. Like the moment when Luke shows up, he's like, everyone stop firing. I'm an angry little boy. I'm going to go fight him myself.
But obviously, Luke shouldn't have been able to survive all of that blaster fire, which should have been the first indication that he's not actually there. But I'm a dumb kid when I'm watching these movies. And when I say dumb kid, I was in like my early 20s, which makes me feel sad.
What the hell? That was just rude. I guess I'm in my mid-20s now, but...
To say, just you wait, motherfucker. Time will catch up with you eventually.
Time has no grasp on me. I hold time. I can fight time whenever I want to fight time.
Time is an illusion.
Time is a lie.
Time is an illusion that helps things make sense.
Thought about making a joke there that was like mildly concerning, so I'm not going to. That's all you get. Anyways, yeah, we have this great fight. Yeah, he tries to blast the shit out of him with like 4 AT-ATs. Totally fine. He's dodging everything. Somehow still kicking up salt, which is... Or actually, sorry, he's not kicking up any salt, which is another indicator, but Kylo's doing a bunch of it, so kind of...
Which I thought when I was first watching it, it's the dichotomy of the Jedi and the Sith, where the Jedi is very intricate and precise with their movements and actions, and we saw that with the pseudo lightsaber duel between Rey and Luke when they're fighting with sticks. But no, it was just he didn't exist.
What's funny is it's still that as well, though. Like it is that.
It is, but it isn't because it turns out he's a ghost.
Yeah, he's a Force ghost the whole time. As they're fighting, as we mentioned many times on this episode, when he's finally given them enough time, he basically gives one last fuck you to Kylo Ren, and disappears into the Force. While they're running off, they are running off for a place to hide until they realize that they are trapped in there. A bunch of rocks have caved in the entrance. They do, however, see a bunch of these little cute crystal fox animals. I love these things so much. They are adorable.
The little crystal dog fox creatures. Yeah, they're good.
I love them. Also, another thing in the Lego Star Wars game that was a pain in the ass. Love them to death, though. They run off. They realize if these things are coming in and out, there has to be a way out. As they're running away, they are again trapped by a bunch of rocks. However, Rey does the thing, and guess what? She uses the Force to lift shit.
The only practical use for the Force.
Not even lift shit. Like, of course it's rocks. Of course it's rocks.
It had to be.
But no,
they've been setting this up the whole movie with them cracking rocks and moving rocks. Rocks.
Yeah, she uses the Force to open up the entrance. At which point, this is the moment where Rey and Poe finally meet. They have not met each other until the end of the second movie. Yeah, think about it. They had not met before
weird.
this.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Huh.
Yeah.
Not
have
that
a
that
whole
really
moment
matters
about
all that much to either's character development, but
Yeah. Really, the only thing that happens with it is they fight each other at the beginning of the next movie.
Whoop-de-doo-dah.
But no, in this moment, though, of having all the Force, Leia looks like the proudest mother ever in Rey. But also, like, everyone gets this hope back. The Jedi are back. We have a Force user that can help us. It's not Luke. In fact, it was Rey. Everyone hops onto the Falcon, and they get the fuck out of there. But at the moment when Luke passes, Leia and Rey both sense his death, and they have a little sad moment of realizing what it is. Rey asks her, so what now? Leia gives her some fancy schmancy old person words of wisdom, saying the Resistance can rise again. And they go off into the sunset, kind of. We are still in space. We get one final little moment. Another top tier Rian Johnson moment in this film.
This is one of my favorite parts of the movie.
It's so good, and it's so still mad at Star Wars for not following up on this.
I fully trust Dave Filoni to follow up on this in 5 to 7 years.
It kind of feels like
I also think that will happen.
Yeah, at Candlelight, we see one of the stable hands telling all of his, I guess, coworkers / friends, the story of Luke. Afterwards, he goes to actually do his job, to go sweep, at which point he uses the Force to grab the broom. It's a great moment. Like, the whole story of, one of the main stories of this movie is that anyone can use the Force. That is the entire point of Rey. I totally glassed over the plot point that Rey's parents were just nobodies, because they fuck it up in Rise of Skywalker.
They were nobodies except they
were someone.
weren't.
They were nobodies. They don't matter, though. Your grandfather does.
God, stupid goddamn movie.
I still also hate the implications of that, meaning that Palpatine fucks.
I mean, that's just the motto of almost every Star Wars film, is at some point, everybody fucks.
Look, I'm
Unless
fine
you're
with
a
it for
Jedi.
most characters, but Palpatine specifically, I'm not.
Especially since he would have already had to have been, like,
was
disfigured at that
evil.
point.
Yeah.
And also, like, in his 70s?
Yeah,
Like,
it's not comfortable to think about.
I can just picture it. Like, my brain is just like, do it. Do it. Do it. Yes. And that's it.
The thing about this, it's like, this was a perfect moment for, like, a clip out, but I cannot justify turning that into a TikTok.
Do it. I dare you. Do it.
I'm sorry, folks. I gotta do it. I've been dared. So this is the promo we're using for the episode. Okay.
You're welcome. I'm full of these little zingers. That's why you keep me around.
Look, people know we're an unhinged podcast, but that was especially unhinged.
That was
Proud of that
something
one. I
special.
don't know why, but I am.
I don't know why either, but here we are. Anyways, that's the end of the movie. On that note. Thanks
That's
for
how the
listening.
movie ended.
We'll see you next episode. No, I really do love that ending. It's such a
That's
great
fantastic ending.
wrap up.
I'm glad I just ruined it for you.
I was the one that sent us there, which hurts me. No,
That's
I
your
do.
fault.
I really do love this ending with the stable hand. Like, not only were these kids adorable, but the whole idea of anyone can use the Force is something that I really do think needs to be explored. Like, I know they've
And
talked
that-
about how they're not going to go back to the sequel era because of a lot of people not liking it, but I really hope they do.
Have to eventually. They can only tell so many stories between the prequels and the original trilogy.
Again,
Or between the
like that
original
their
trilogy and the
solution to this is
sequels.
just to keep going further back in time.
I
mean, they are doing the High
also
Republic
think
stuff.
that is a good idea. The Old Republic is fun. Let me have it.
I love also that they just skipped the Old Republic and went straight to before the Old Republic.
Yeah, to the
Hey, we're
old
getting the
Old
Acolyte.
Republic.
The Acolyte should be cool.
The Acolyte should be pretty dope.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the best Star Wars movie. I'm still like, part of me wants to go rewatch it after having talked about it for the last hour or so.
All this has made me want to do is watch Rise of Skywalker to remember why I hate myself.
Don't do that to yourself.
Fine, I'll go watch Rogue One.
There you go.
That's a
Don't do that to
wonderful
yourself
film.
either, but
What?
I love Rogue One. The plot of that movie is crap.
All right, can I at least go? Can I go finish watching The Bear that I started a few nights ago?
You haven't finished The Bear?
So it dropped on Disney Plus up here because it's an FX show. I started it. I watched like the first episode or two, and then just other stuff came out. Someone said, "Hey, we should do weekly content about whatever it was at the time." I don't even freaking remember. And it just kind of fell off. And I was at my parents' the other night, and we watched the first 2 or 3 episodes. I'm just like, "Yeah, I'm hooked again. Let's get this one wrapped."
The first episode, and then suddenly I was done with the series.
See, for me, that was Dave.
Also a good show.
That's just so
Also a show that I could not
Bangers.
binge. I cannot imagine binging that show.
Oh, I binged it. It was.
I binged it as well.
How?
It was a time.
Griffin, if you want to talk about how, you can do that on a later episode of this podcast because Dave, another FX property, is available on Disney Plus here in Canada. So there's your loophole.
Fair enough.
We don't have Hulu. Everything's on Disney Plus.
Look, I just don't have the emotional willpower to binge that show.
You might have to if we podcast about it.
No, I'll start ahead of time. Anyways, that's The Last Jedi. It's a movie we love. You all should go watch it if you haven't. Also, if you haven't watched it, how are you still here?
I'd love to hear your opinions on the film and whether you agree with us saying it is good or disagree like the majority of the internet will.
Yeah, please.
Let us know in the
let us
comments or on Twitter, where you can find us at D+Us on Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, wherever you might be able to find this.
I feel like this one's gonna pop off on TikTok. Like, go let us know what you think
Me
about
talking about Palpatine fucking?
That's not the only thing I'm clipping
Palpatine.
out of this show. We have a few things.
Okay.
Palpatine Pound Town? Is that what we're going
There's
to
your
do?
hashtag. DB.
Thank you for listening, folks. Ryan, where can people find you?
People can find me at Ryan the Lion 3055 on Twitter for wherever and whatever I'm doing in this wild world of the internet.
Don't
The
make
links will be in the description of the video. So go or video podcast wherever you're putting this in your ear or eye holes. We appreciate it. And go give Ryan some love because we love having him here.
Now, Mitch, if for some reason after your bullshit, people want to keep up with us, where can people find the podcast?
I already dropped it.
I just
you
wanted
heard
to make
me.
fun
I
of
said
you one last time. Anyways,
All right,
folks,
whatever.
thank you very much for
D
listening.
plus us everywhere. Please click the subscribes and hearts and follows and all those things and all the things you click through the internet on.
Also, I have a rigmarole at this point. You know that. Thank you, folks, for listening, watching, listening, whatever you're doing. Remember, folks, please go check out that YouTube channel. We do have other stuff happening over there. We've got our last episode up about Ant-Man Quantumania, I think will be how it
Yes.
is with the release schedule. We're recording this early, so I don't know. We have other episodes going up. We have weekly episodes happening. We will be talking about the Mando Season 3 weekly. So come hang out with us as we're talking.
We recently wrapped National Treasure Edge of History. Will it be more than one season? You'll have to tune in to find out.
Probably not. Will I have yelled about Outer Banks on that episode? Go listen to be sure. Timing is weird. Time is a lie. But no, thank you very, very much for listening. We will see y'all in the next episode. But until then, have a magical day.